Hello everyone, I'm Yuxo and let me welcome you to my BT16 format birds deck profile for a Digimon trading card game. I made top 6 at the last Ultimate Cup for Radiant Trade at the 22nd of June with this deck, and without wasting too much time I will just get right into it. Starting with the eggs, I'm running 4 BT15 Yokomon. Pretty much there's no other egg you would like to run. You need this egg to start comboing and do a lot of the shenanigans that this deck can do, and I will explain that as we get along, but yeah, that's no other choice there. Next we got 4 BT15 Biomon. This, like, one of the best searchers in your deck. The only weakness is that since it starts a main phase, it gets countered by Emperor, which is very much omnipresent in this format. But as long as they don't have Emperor in, this just sets you up so much. It trashes something for you to recover from trash. It picks up any red card, which makes it so any tech 1-ofs that you put in your deck, they're really easy to pick up because of this card. The Inheritable also comes up a lot, at least in my version of the build. I know that there are more rush versions of this deck based around more tamers, hitting with your low end, then spawning big things with Sora. But in my version, I like to turbo into my level 6s, so having an Inheritable that gains me memory when the security is removed while I'm aggroing really helps me not give my opponent too much memory. The same thing applies for my second rookie. BT11 Biomon is just an on-play searcher. On deletion, Inheritable, if I have a red timer in play, gain a memory. Same as the BT15 Biomon, it allows me to not give too much memory to my opponents. Otherwise, it's an excellent searcher. Picks up a vaccine, picks up a red tamer. It's basically picks up 90% of my deck. So it's just... these 8 rookies are pretty much... I never touch them, I would never change how it is. And then since this deck pretty much gets defined as a purple deck in red, so I basically run the same amount of ratios as I would in a purple deck. So I only run 9 rookies, the 9th one being EX1 Biomon. This could really be any other card. I pondered putting, for example, the... oh, I can't remember the name, but it's the level 3 Bearmon, I believe, that gives plus 3 KDP if an attack gets redirected. So if you swing with your Phoenix X, the Phoenix X will be at 16k, so you'll be able to trade with a Magnamon that only triggered protection once. But this deck does tend to run low on hand size, and I like having options, so just a draw 1 when I attack the player is fine with me. Moving on to level 4s, I'm also running 9, starting with 3 BT11 Birdramon. Real simple, just blocker, Inheritable on deletion, play a red tamer where play cost of 4 or less from hand. This basically allows me to just keep bouncing Soras, play Sora, proc Sora's effect, bounce it to hand, replay it. And the blocker does come up at times, and a lot of people forget that this has blockers, so they have to respect it either as a blocker and also as a potential target to go into Garuda Ace. So as a 3-of, it's pretty much the level 4 that I like the most having in my stack. Next we got 2 BT15 Birdramon. And to be honest, after this tournament, I would cut this down to 1. Simply because you want to use this effect. So when Digivolving, you return a red Digimon card within the archetype from your trash to your hand, and this will trigger a lot of your effects. The problem being with the when Digivolving is that unless you play a Biomon that evolves into this to start comboing off, with the amount of Digimon Emperor that exists, at the time where you will want to play this, it's already too late. They have Emperor set up, so you will almost never, in my experience, trigger this when Digivolving. The Inheritable is still nice, same as BT15 Biomon. You gain a memory if opponent's security is removed. But otherwise, I would cut after the event, I would cut this down to 1 and maybe pop in another Saberdramon or maybe another Aquilomon. But otherwise, I only use it for its inheritable during the whole tournament. I don't think I've ever used the When Digivolving in a meaningful manner. Then we have 2 BT13 Aquilomon. The only downside I feel discard is it's not a vaccine, so it can whiff off of your BT11 Biomon Searcher. But otherwise, everything else can pick it up, all your boosts, all your BT15 Biomon can pick it up. And I really love this card because it allows you to get presence on the board versus New Memon, for example. You can pop a lot of things. So, until when Digivolving, you delete a 3-key or less. So, you can really clear the board, control the board versus New Memon. Even just hard casting this for 5 can go a long way into helping you control that aggression and just keep moving up the stack without losing speed, keeping up with the board. As an example, on deletion, draw 1. I mean, it's nice. As I said, I like drawing cards. It's nice to have options in hand. But otherwise, I use it more for the on-play when Digivolving to basically control my opponent's board. 1 Promo Saberdramon. This card pretty much is amazing. On deletion, return a red and or purple Digimon card from your trash to your hand. This is basically Yokomon's effect on the level 4. So something you can do is like, if you have Sora set up with a rookie and raising, you promote the rookie, swing with the rookie, it dies. Now that your opponent's at 4, you can play this Saberdramon and you basically have the Yokomon effect on the inheritable. So if the stack that this gets built on dies, you can re-trigger all your effects that way. I also love using this for the raid. Again, for the same reason as Aquilomon, this card is surprisingly good in the Nume matchup early on. If you're able to control the amount of memory you give them, you just raid into the small bodies, do not let them set up a board presence. Really early in the game, this card really surprised me. I would definitely bump this up to 2 after the tournament run, and I regret not running to 2 as it was, but it is what it is. For the last level 4, I have a EX1 Birdramon. My main reason to include this again, because Numemon is such an omnipresent deck, I like to be able to take care of their small bodies. Like, they love to leave Ukos on the board and generate value. So, versus there are a lot of decks, and since not a lot of people have played against this deck, they will just leave the Ukos, usually with just swing Uko into security if you know it will get removed next turn, so you don't lose out on that swing. And some people don't expect this, so it really helps me control the Nume board, control the small bodies, and most importantly, also, since I said my version of the build, I like to make a tall stack and make my opponent remove it. Or if they leave it there, or they try to control my combos with floodgates, this basically helps me take care of any floodgate that they might play. And I really like how it performed. Level 5 is also the most important one, because this really is what I believe makes this deck, one of the cards that makes this deck viable, the Garuda X. On play when Digivolving, you return a red Digimon card from your trash to your hand, and the fact that it's a red Digimon allows you to basically tech in red Digimons from outside of the archetype and have like a recyclable tech card, like for example Valkyremon. And again, it's another aspect of the deck that I love because I love playing purple, and this basically reminds me of a purple card. It helps you control the board as well, because if you do have X-Anti or Garudamon underneath when you evo into this, you will pop something with the same amount of DP as Garuda X, and this is basically almost every level 5 in the current meta. So it controls the board, and as an added effect, if you return a card from your trash to your hand, you give Rush to one of your Digimon, and this can really surprise opponents. You can just cycle between 2 or 3 Garuda X's in your trash, swing them into security, they die, you play something else, you give it Rush again. It's just a really amazing card. And as an inheritable, on deletion, you trash a security, and this comes up a lot when you go up into Phoenix X is just a lot of damage that out of nowhere that your opponent does not expect. Then I have 2 Garuda Ace. I did try running this at 3, but it just the overflow really hurt me in the way that I was playing. So I just used this to, if in a really combo heavy turn, or if I want to take care of a blocker in my opponent's board. So I feel it at 2 in the way that I play. It's really okay. Like on play, if I can just for also it can come up if you're like bricking, and if you only have Garuda Ace and a Garuda X in hand, if you can just you drop this for 4, hope that it sticks, and then you can start comboing off from here. It really is a gamble, but you know, sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. But being able to play Sora out for free, bounce it, this like the most basic combo is basically you bounce Sora to hand, play this, which will instantly play Sora back. It's a really powerful combo, but since I only run 2, I don't always see them, and I just rely on other combos to get me through the game. Then we got 2 BT13 Garudamon. This isn't really like this is a vanilla card technically in my deck, because it plays a 3-cost tamer when it gets played or when it digivolves, and I do not play any 3-cost tamers. What I really value in this card is the inheritable on deletion to delete a 6-key or less. Again, I like comboing off, I like doing damage and controlling the board at the same time. And versus Numemon, like there are a lot of cheeky combos you can do to clear board with this, and is basically the main reason that I use it is for the inheritable. Then we got the one of a BT11 Garudamon. A lot of people during my run did not respect that this had blocker. They just did not ask what it had, they just ignored it that it was on the board. So the blocker does come up a surprisingly amount of time. And then on deletion, same as the BT11 Birdramon, you play a Red Tamer with play cost of 4 or less from your hand. So if you have this plus the Birdramon in hand, you just use Sora as a basketball to spam the board. So as a one-of, I've seen it exactly when I needed to see it. So I don't think I would change that. From the level 6s, we start with 3 BT15 Phoenixmon. On play, on deletion, if my opponent has 3 or fewer security cards, I delete their lowest DP, but if they have 4 more, I trash the top card as security. And this is what made me want to play the stack version of this deck, because something I like to do, and we'll bring out right away the Phoenixmon X that I run as a 4 of. I like to basically swing at the Phoenixmon X, and at the end of attack, I get to trigger the on deletions. And while I have a stack with basically Garuda X and Phoenix X, I can basically do one check, play this of the Phoenix X antibody effect, trash a security, and then trash another. And that's a lot of damage that your opponent does not expect, and trashing 2 security is really powerful. Like, they will miss out on tamers, miss out on options, is just really, really strong. And even if your opponent tries to play around the effect, like, you choose the order of your effects, so you can basically just trash a security first to put him at the threshold where this will just kill something when it comes in. It also has when digivolve when you play a tamer, so I also used it like to just set up my future turn and have a body that if they kill it by deletion, it will basically just explode their security as well as payback. So I really love this card. Like, I did not expect it to be as strong as it is when being enabled by the Phoenix X. And moving on to the Phoenix X at 4, if I do have Phoenix X or X antibody in sources, all my on deletions can end of attack, and that is really, really powerful. It basically makes it so every inheritable before you like this, the birds had to die to do something. Now they're all a threat that your opponent has to take care of. But even if they do take care of it, they just get hit with the undeletions anyway, which is why I believe this deck has a really strong matchup versus Magna X, for example, because you don't care if they block, you just want to trigger your undeletions, and then you just spawn a bunch of birds with Rush and just overwhelm them that way. And basically this card plus Garuda X really is what enables this deck. Moving on, the strongest ace in the meta, Valkyremon Ace. I mean, I thought of running as a 1-up, but this came up so many times. I evo into it, I aced into it, I hard cast it. It's just too strong of a card not to run. And again, since it's a red card, BT16 Digimon can pick it up, all of your boosts will pick it up. And again, since Garuda X picks up any red Digimon from trash, you can recycle Valkyrie Ace, which in certain matchups is just amazing. They cannot deal with the constant recycling of Valkyrie Ace. So yeah, I would not go down at you. I want to see it all the time, basically. Next, 3 Sora. Now this pretty much allows a lot of the combos in your deck. And I did run it at a 4 before, but it's like a situation where at 3 I see it enough, sometimes not enough, because sometimes they are elusive, but as a 4-of I see it too much, and for the style, for my play style, it would just clunk up my hand, so at 3 is what I allow it to be, and then where I like it to be. So this just allows so many combos in your deck. Like the moment your opponent has 3 security, this can play a level 5, and from there you can just spawn Garudas, even into Garuda X, give things rush. Just too strong. Like maybe I would run it at 4, but again, as a 3-of, I'm happy how much I get to see it. And again, since I do run the inheritables that play the tamers, so I just, instead of hard casting it like some decks like to do in the rush version, I just build the tall stack, swing, and then when the inheritables play the Sora and just do the Sora shenanigans mid resolving my effects. This is pretty much a classic nowadays for most stack decks. It's like, it's almost guaranteed that you'll run 4 offense and at least 2 memory boosts in a stack deck. It is kind of sad because it's like 6 slots that you already have for your deck, but like the cards are too strong not to run. Like it's just too picks up your tamers, picks up your Digimon. Sure, this will bottom deck Sora from time to time, but it just extends your plays, allows you to keep safe in raising while you build up your combo turn. So pretty standard for decks nowadays. One of Crimson Blaze, and I gotta be honest, after Saturday's tournament, I would cut it. To be honest, it did not perform as it did. All the games where I had to play it, I still lost. It did not help me stall, even in turns where I've used it to stall combos, I've used it to clear boards, and it legit did not help me. I would actually cut it for another Wings of Love option. Yeah, to be honest, this did nothing for me. One of the Wings of Love, yeah, only one. People that would see only one of this would think I'm crazy, and I would agree with them. I would have liked to run 2 if I knew Crimson Blaze would have been as useless as it was. For 2 memory, you play Sora, and then if you have Sora, you instantly recover something from trash, and you can trigger Sora off that. It's just too strong. It's like almost like a hybrid for game, but extremely more flexible. Yeah, and I really hoped I ran 2 of these, to be honest. Finally, 1 Protoform, 2 regular X Anti. The reason for this, cause since I want to run a stack deck, I like my cheap cost evolutions with training cards. So I like this to basically go from Birdramon to Garuda X while cracking a training card so that I can evo for 1 and stay memory efficient that way and still be able to clear the board. And this I mostly use when either I have no other option or I don't have any cost reduction or boosts in play, or if it would be more memory efficient in terms of memory choking. If I was example at 1, instead of cracking a boost and instead of putting X anti and cracking a boost, I would go protoform to clear the board, put him to 1. Also would do the same with while evoing from a Phoenixmon to a Phoenix X. The fact that it goes back to security and comes back to hand if it gets rechecked so you can reuse it again, it is something, but it doesn't come up frequently when I play, because I still prefer this. It's very rarely that I use the when attacking of X anti to evo mid-swing, because Phoenix X has Blitz, and since I evo Garuda X with trainings, I never actually swing with the Birdramon into Garuda X. I think I did that one time in my whole time playing the deck, not just in the tournament, but also at locals. So, yeah, this is the way I like to play it. Overall, I do believe the deck to be very strong, and I don't think I built it to its exact perfect point for this meta. I think if I had practiced more, tested more with the deck, I would have made the few changes that I said I would make. I would have liked to make. But overall, I'm happy with my performance this past weekend, and I really hope that I get to play this deck again. Not likely, but I would really love to, because it's really fun to just play red and still be in purple in a way. But yeah, that was my deck profile for Birds. Thank you for listening, and see you next time.